Okay, this demo is about sculpting the ear. You want your ear to be about life size. With mine, it's about this big. So this bit of clay is plenty big enough. And we're going to work around the ear as well, so you get a little bit of the head involved, and so you can understand how the ear tucks into the skull here and is attached to the bottom of the skull and to the jawline. The ear is all cartilage except for 3 tiny little bones, and those are not of our concern because you can't see them. So you have this shell shaped here that we'll start with. So get the overall volume like any other sculpture we will be doing. You want to get the overall. You want to make this come thinner. And we're going to be dealing with the back of the ear and the front of the ear as well. Give me a little bit of clay in my hands. I've warmed this up with about 10 seconds in the microwave. And it almost made it a little bit too pliable, but you can deal with that. It's easier too pliable than not pliable enough. But you also don't want it liquidy. So you don't want it sticking to your hand. So the ear sits kind of at an angle. So the back of the ear is slightly further back, or the top of the ear is slightly further back than the earlobe. My ear arcs up, comes around, has this kind of a straight edge, kind of straight here, and then it tucks under straight for the earlobe. So that's what I'm looking for right now. Try to get as many of the, try to get a little bit smooth as you go, save you some trouble later. So now we can start with the drawing process. This part of the ear kind of rolls over, so make sure you kind of give yourself enough room, enough clay, and it's tucked under, and it gradually flattens out as it comes around the ear. I'm going to go ahead and use this little paper clip here. To get that, and it starts flattening out there. So I'll use my fingers. Since we're looking for a skin texture, your fingers are going to be your best tool to get that texture. And then this part of the ear wraps around and tucks back down into the ear. So we want to describe how that works. And then we have this shape here that actually starts back down in the ear, comes forward, and wraps around and ends up at the top of the ear lobe. So let's see here. This is not the deepest part. The deepest part is down in there. We'll get there in a moment. But we have to have room, depth here to push, to have that curl back down in. This is where a ribbon tool comes in handy to kind of excavate. And paper clip works just as well. I'm just using this because it has a handle. You could attach your paper clip to a handle. A pencil or what have you. A little too far there. So this tucks back down and in. We'll work on the sides and the back here in a moment. This is a little ridge that drops down in here, so you want to describe that. And this area right here is away from and kind of cut back in, because that's the deepest part of your ear. This is where my paper clip's going to come in handy because it's round. This has a flat edge, which is not giving me what I need at the moment. Still have a little bit in my hand, so I can add little bits. You want to keep it nice and soft so it smears in really nice. You can see this area has a little bit of cartilage in it and is bumped up a little bit more than what I had it. I think this needs a little bit in here. And this cartilage comes on down here. I don't quite have the shape of the ear quite right yet. I need to cut a little away here. And that comes across like that. Going a little large. Rather a little large than small. You'll get to deal with smaller ones later. Alright, I'm getting the basic volumes going. I think at this point I need to work on the back of the ear. You can see here on the back of the ear, at the top it's relieved, but not, there's not a whole lot of space between the curl of that earlobe so make sure you get the pictures that you need before you start. This is definitely one that will need pictures. You can still work from the mirror. It's just not quite as easy and doesn't give you enough variety of view. Then you can see got the skull here, and then it kind of creates the secondary part of the skull is in here and kind of starts fading away, so that pushes the back of the ear away from the skull. And this gets a little thinner than and it almost overlaps. So I'm looking at the back here. Smooth it out a little bit. Can't get my finger in there, so I'm using a tool. You can see that here that this is wider and then it kind of scoops down. I don't quite have that. So let's get that. And that change is right in here. I probably need this to be a little bit thicker. I think I want to go this way with it. I'm adding just little bits. They're nice and warm for my hand. And this is raised up a little bit. Make sure you're referencing, using your reference. I don't quite have this line right here quite right, so let's work on that. This is a little flat in here. You can see that little bump right in there. Make sure when you take your pictures that you get good lighting. You don't want really to use the flash because it will wash it out and take away the shadows that you need to as reference. So you can see when your piece has the correct form and such. So above my ear, got this little wrinkle here, kind of fades. See if I can. Skull comes away from it a little bit more. The back of the ear here. Wow. So I've got the basic volumes. Now I need to smooth it out, perhaps work on some of the details. So use my hair dryer here. You can see how it's starting to glisten. I'm going to back off a little bit. Now I can take that surface heat and smooth it down. If you go too far, it could puddle any details or even puddle the entire piece. If you don't go far enough, you can always go back and do more. Smooth it out. This needs a lot of smoothing down in here. And some attention to some detail here. A little bit more smoothing, a little bit more work here and there. But that's it.